Hello, everybody, and welcome to Singing London. This is the exciting bit to see whether everything actually works. So I can see on one of my screens over here that people are slowly drifting into Facebook. That's nice. I can see myself. I seem to have appeared on the screen. If you can hear me, can you give me a little thumbs up in the emojis so that we can work out if everything's running smoothly? I can see Cindy has turned up. Hi, Cindy. How are you? Very nice to see you. I can see VOCES8 has turned up, said hi, Paul. That's a very good sign. Who else can give me a thumbs up? I can see Orla. I can see, oh, Bianca is here. Oh, Bianca, you even told me the sound works. Thank you very much. I think it's the most nerve-wracking moment of any live feed when you first come on and you want everything to actually be working. So fingers crossed, we are in for a good session. If you are just joining us and this is your first Singing London workshop, a couple of things to tell you. First of all, in the introduction text to this event, I've put a link to the VOCES8 Foundation website so that you can get over there and download your music and find all the links you need to go elsewhere. In this session, some of what we do is going to be just learning by rote and singing along. So I'm here at the piano and we'll just have some fun with that. In other things, I'm going to show you videos that you can be learning from home and working on as we prepare for this concert experience together. And in some things, we need our sheet music. So I am here, for example, I have my iPad and I have my score and it's got notes on it and stuff like that. So if you want to find your Singing London booklet, you can go to the VOCES8 Foundation website and head into the programs, head into the festival, the Live from London Spring Festival. And if you dig out the event that's happening on the 21st of March, funnily enough, called Singing London, then on that page, you'll find everything you need to download the music and also to find your way to our digital academy where there's lots of fun things that we're going to begin to look at today. Now, I can see a couple of hundred people have turned up, so that's a very good sign. Thanks for coming, everybody. If you have any questions during this session, I'm going to try and keep an eye on all of the chat that's going on over here. So just drop me any questions. I have a feeling that maybe one or two of the VOCES8 elves and pixies are also going to keep an eye on things. So it's possible that they will come in as well. If you were here last week for our session, you will have spent some time with Andrea, with Eleanor, and with Katie in the Upper Voices workshop. Today, I'm going to be looking at some of the stuff for all of the choir, the SATB stuff. And then later this week, we have our lower voices doing their first session, which is going to be happening on Friday. So the plan for today is to start with a few little warm-ups, get ourselves going. And then after that, we're going to start looking at some of the music you started last week and also look at some new pieces as well. So let's see how the comments are going so far. Oh, lots of people joining in. This is brilliant. It's very nice to see you. So Anne has asked, where do you find the scores exactly? If you look at the top link, you should be able to dig it out there on the Facebook page, or if we're lucky, maybe VOCES8 will post a specific link that you can just click on it. It's on the VOCES8 Foundation website though, so if you head there you'll definitely be able to find it. Oh, brilliant, there's people from all over the place joining in, and I do hope, yes, some people from Stay at Home Choir I hope are here as well. You guys are just so professional at knowing how to do everything these days. Okay, so we're going to get started with a bit of a warm-up, and then after that we're going to get into some music making. Now, if you've worked with me before, as I know a lot of you have, it's very simple for this first session. We've kind of got 4 things that you need to know. We've got stop, we've got louder, we've got quieter, and we've got just keep on going. And all you have to do to begin with is just copy me. So thanks very much, VOCES8, for posting where exactly the scores can be found. Everyone head over there whilst you're doing this. And if you can, you might want to have at least 2 screens running so you can be part of the workshop and have your music with you if you have it on an iPad. Okay, here we go, everyone. Copy me. Just rub your hands together, give your arms a bit of a pat. Let's wake up our bodies. As you can see, I'm sitting in an office space at the moment, but I have been on a very long run today, which I was pretty happy with because the sun came out. Just stretch forward and just go for me. Oh, woo! Very good. Rub your hands again. Just wiggle your fingers for me. Just with your fingers wiggling, just go for me. And now follow me with the pitch. Very good. And just say for me, Blair. Put your best face that you can possibly give me. Imagine if only I could see you right now, it'd be great. Just say for me, Blair. Very nice. Thank you. Now I'm going to follow the tongue down inside your mouth. Very good. Keep going while I talk. Just now change direction. Very good. Just give your face a bit of a massage and give your ears a bit of a wiggle. Let's warm them up. Very important when we're singing in choir. Just give. Very good. And just stroke your face for me. And can you just say for me, ba da da da, ba da da da, ba da da da, ba da da da. Very good. Now rub your hands again for me. And just start to copy me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 that and 2 that and 3 that and 4. 1 that and 2 that and 3 that and 4 again. A 1 that and 2 that and 3 that and 4. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Very good. Copying me. Have a listen. Ba 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 da ba ba. Your turn. Ba da 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 ba ba. And me. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Very good. We feeling this rhythm? That's good. Da 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 da. You'll go da 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 da. Very good. Da 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 da. Listen again. Da 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 da. You'll go da 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 da. Very good. Okay, so we're putting together some little different rhythms here. All the time trying to feel it in our body. Imagine 1, 2, 3, like 4. Okay, so we're feeling that. Let's see if we can do maybe 2 or 3 different ones. Then we're going to rotate between them. So let's have a first one that goes da 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 da, and again da 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 da. Okay, so that's our first one. The second one is going to be that triplet vibe that we just worked on. Just have a listen to how that goes. Da 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 da. Okay, so we've got these 2 different vibes. The first one has a syncopated feel, the second has a triplet feel. And all the time you're trying to feel in your body this constant rhythm going. Are you doing okay at home? I hope you can't send me any emojis right now because you're doing this with your hands and having to copy. And Cindy, you're writing things about the old fuddy-duddies feeling funky. How can you do that whilst you're clapping like this? I have no idea. Very talented, clearly. Okay, very good. So let's try. We're going to do the first one's going to be a bit syncopated and the second one's going to be triplets. Okay, here we go. And da 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 da. How about that? Take a break for a second and just let your brain compute what we just did. So we had 2 little different things that we just stuck together. We had our da 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 da. That was a kind of syncopated feel, which then landed on the 4th beat together. Then we had our triplets. Da 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 da, also landing together nicely at the end of the bar there. So we've got those 2 little things. Let's see if we can just stick them together again. As you're doing this time, see if you can just vary the pitch slightly in your voice, nice and gently. Go as high or as low as you want, and just feel it all kind of joined up when we're doing those triplets. Da do do da do do da do do da do. That kind of vibe. Okay. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, and go. Da 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 do da do do da do do da do do da do da go do da 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 do do da do do da do do da. One more. Da ga da 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 do do da do do da do do da do. Very good. Who thinks we're doing some crazy things today? I hope you all do, because that's half the fun, really. We've got some brain games going on there. We're beginning to feel some rhythm. Now, last week with Katie, you did some lovely work on a piece called There's a River. If you remember There's a River, can you put your thumbs up for me? Give me a big thumbs up if you can. And if you can't, I'll just give you a quick overview of how that sounded, something like this. I hope you can hear that. It was about there. There's a river flowing in my heart. Do you remember that? Can we just try that bit together? 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. And the great news is, once we know that, it's quite similar. Then we have a little bit higher. There's a river flowing in my heart. Should we try that little section? There's your first note. 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. So we've got there's a river flowing in my heart. Then the same again, but a bit higher. Let's try putting those two together. And thanks for the thumbs up, everyone. This is making me very happy. It's very nice to have so many happy thumbs on this first day of March. So here we go. There's is your first note. There. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. Then the same higher. There's a river flowing in my heart. And after that we have, and it's telling me I am somebody. And it's telling me I am somebody. Can we try that? And 1, 2, and 3. And it's telling me I am somebody. And then the great news for the last line is it's the same as the first one. There's a river flowing in my heart. So we have that whole little package there. There's a river flowing in my heart. Then higher. There's a river flowing in my heart. Then the third one, which is a bit different. And it's telling me I am somebody. Then the fourth one. There's a river flowing in my heart. Now, I think last week with Katie, we probably also thought about doing this without text. So we just thought maybe about humming it, or about maybe to ooh or to ah. So we can play with those ideas now. Let's do one without any words at all. And maybe you can give me like a steel pan version. So you're going to, with your tongue, go. Can you try that for me? 1, 2, and 3. Keep it going. Carry on. And the last bit. It's quite nice to get everything just flowing easily. Now let's do one where we just sing those words, and not too loud, just nice and soft. Imagine we're singing very gently, perhaps to a baby bird just sitting on our hand, just here. There's a river. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Very nice. And after that, we're then going to change the word heart to mind for the second verse. So it's exactly the same, but this time with the word mind. Now, it may be in the weeks to come that you want to have a go at singing some of the other parts to that. And if you visit the Academy, then it's possible to find some of the stuff there. Let me just see if I can do a screen share and take you in. Let's have a go. Sharing the screen in just a second. So first of all, I'm going to find the Digital Academy. Let's dive right in. Here we go. So I think now you should be able to see the VOCES8 Digital Academy, and you can see all of the different modules that we have. The one we've just been looking at there was There's a River. So if we just dive in here, it's great fun, this. We open everything up and all we can see is a nice introduction. Then if we want to have a look at the score and practice with it, then you can pick your own part and do it that way as well. It's all there for you. If you would prefer, you can just be singing by rote, as we've just been doing, just using our ears. And there's also, as you'll see down this side of the page, there's all sorts of things to do more practice. So we've got all these little things. Let's just one more time have a go at singing it through. With this time, let's do, what should we do? What's it say there? Mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. Okay, there you go. There's the text for you. Sing it once more. Now let's give a little bit more this time, a kind of gentle, not overpowering. I think this is always quite an inward song. It's quite beautiful and pensive perhaps, but this time let's sing it with a little bit more warmth to it. Here we go. After 3. 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river. Oh, mind, isn't it? Here we go. I was having so much fun. There's a river flowing in my mind. 1, 2, and 3. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. Very nice. And when we sing this with all of VOCES8 at Singing London, you can join in with all the different parts if you want, and we're going to create a structure which has a bit of humming, a bit of oohing as well. So be ready for that. And if you check out the video here on the Academy, that's going to help you out massively, I think, so you'll know how everything fits together. I can see lots of you are joining in. Oh, you've asked melody or parts. The answer I would say for all of today is pick whichever you are happiest with at home. If you want to sing the melody or sing with me the whole time, that's great. If you want to have a go at singing something that's in harmony with what I'm doing, then that's absolutely awesome. I would love to encourage you to do that as well. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, just pop them into the chat. Don't worry though, if you're just here for a bit of a sing-song, and we're going to, I think, move on now. Let's have a little spin now that we're here at the Academy. Let's take a look through some of the other things that we're going to be working with. How about we start with our lovely hymn, Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. So we'll dive in here and let's see what we can find. Great, we've gone straight to VOCES8. So that's really nice. What we're going to do, I think, as we're looking at this for the first time, is just have a little listen to this first verse of Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. As we're doing this, do you want to just dive into your Singing London resource pack if you've had a chance to find it? And this is the first piece of music in the book. So we're on page 4. It's all, helpfully, on one page, just like that. There we go. Wow, that's very good. And it's all separated out. So that's really nice. Well done, team, for getting that together. Okay, so let's have a go at just listening to this. This is the first verse of Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. Drop, drop, slow tears, and may those beauteous seas, which brought from heaven news and grief quite nice. Sorry to cut VOCES8 off in their prime just for a minute, but let's quickly visit that. Really, really nice. I'm going to wind this back to the start. And if we just look at the score that we were just listening to there, we've just heard that first verse, which is here. And oh no, they're doing down a semitone from that score. If you're taking a look, that's good to know, isn't it? So here we go. We have the melody line, drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet, which brought from him the news and Prince of Peace. Okay, so that's the nice soprano melody line, which you can also, just like me, sing that down the octave if you don't want to use the sheet music. But if you do want to use the score, and if you have it with you, oh, I see Anne Martine has asked for it a little bit louder. I can certainly turn it up a notch. And let's have a listen again now. This time, let's go back to the recording. And as we're singing it this time, I'd love you to think about, if you're happy with how the music goes, if you've got the score in front of you, just see if we can find the shapes of the phrases as well. So we have drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet. So we're just going to lean into beauteous just a touch. Which brought from heaven the news and Prince of Peace. So just find a gentle, soft shape in the awareness that this is, again, a very inward, soft sound that we're looking for. And in verse 2, we're going to bring a little bit of contrast to the color of what we're looking for. So here we go. I'm very glad that just a bit louder is helping. Let's see how it works with VOCES8 singing again. So if you've got your scores at the ready, I'll try and mouth along and give a little direction as well, but follow with our ears and that will be very helpful, I think. Here we go. Drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet, which brought from heaven news and Prince of Peace. Very nice. Now, if you noticed how VOCES8 was singing at that time, we have drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet. So that's all going together, no breaks if possible. When we get to feet, we're going to sing just 2 beats instead of 3, so that we have time to take a nice, gentle breath. And then the second phrase also all joined up all the way to the end. And at the end, I think we're doing 3 plus 1. Okay, so 3 beats, then off, and then we're going to move on to the second verse. Let's try now doing not just the first verse, but going straight into the second verse. And as we go into the second verse, cease not, wet eyes, his mercies to entreat. After that, we have to cry for vengeance. And we're not going to get angry here, but we're just going to give a little bit more depth of emotion to those words. To cry for vengeance, and really enjoy that text there. Okay, so okay, Bianca would still like it louder. Okay, Bianca, I can make it louder. Here we go. We're hopefully somewhere close to maximum velocity now, but it is a very soft song. Here we go. From the beginning, everyone. Good luck. Drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet, which brought from heaven news and Prince of Peace. Cease not, wet eyes, his mercies to entreat, to cry for vengeance sin doth never cease. Very nice. I can see a couple of comments coming in. VOCES8 team, thank you very much for keeping an eye on all of these things. I hope that was a bit better. Bianca seems to think it was a bit better. So now we've ramped up the volume everywhere, and I hope we can hear things nice and clearly. Did you hear that time, hopefully, how Vengeance was just a bit deeper as well? We're just going to finish this off. We're going to go to the third verse. I saw someone asking a little bit about how it's all laid out, just so you can see it clearly on your score. I believe in the resource pack, it's 1 page in total, just 1 page like that. And if you look at bar 8, that's cease not wet eyes. That's where the second verse starts. And then in your deep floods, which we're about to do now, starts 4 bars into the third line of the page. Okay, let's just try that last piece, last little moment to wrap that up. Here we go. So we're carrying straight on as in your deep floods. Very nice. Now, just a couple of things to notice there as we get to this moment. In your deep floods, drown all my faults and fears, nor let his eye see sin. And what happened after this? For the first time at this moment, we're taking a break. You can probably feel all the way through that. It's still gradually slowing down. We're just winding towards the end of the piece. And after sin, we're going to take a break, buy ourselves some time, and then just wrap up, but through my tears. And those critical people, the tenors, have a very important note. So we're just going to wait for them as all of the other parts are moving in crotchets or quarter notes. And then that 8th note, that quaver from the tenors, is going to lead us into the last cadence. So we need to treat this hymn gently, softly, and very carefully. And in that last verse, as we're singing it live when we get to the event, we're just going to really think about how we wind it down to nothing. Okay, so that's a little bit of an introduction to Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. If this is the first time you've seen this music, then you can see all of these resources here. If any of you are having sound problems today, I can promise you it works much better from your own computers. So if you want to spend some time with these resources, you can have a chance to look at the scores, look a little bit about the music, have a chance to get some top tips from your different voice parts. And then you can also, if this is the first time you've seen this, I'm just going to show you this because it's pretty cool. You can have a go at singing your part without the member of VOCES8 that would normally be there. So you can take their place. So if we just, I know it's a terrible thing to suggest, but what we're going to do is we're going to remove the sopranos just for our first verse. Let's see what happens if we then hear this. Here we go. Drop, drop, slow tears, and bathe those beauteous feet, which brought from heaven news and Prince of Peace. So with this cunning little device, you can have a go at singing your part without the aid of the VOCES8 member who you would normally sing along with, and you can fill their shoes in the performance. So do have a go at practicing that, and you can choose whichever voice part you want to have a look at and go from there. Now, if we spin back to our dashboard, let's see what else we've got to have a look at. So we've just done Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. We've had a look at There's a River. Should we just dive into Locus Iste for a few minutes? An absolute classic by Bruckner. And I'm sure you all love this piece as much as I do. If you've turned up to this session, it's probably because you like the music as much as the opportunity to sing it. And so here we have, again, all of the resources that you need. Oh, exciting. Andrea's coming to join us, I think. Here she is. There we go. Maybe one of the little elves and pixies. So we've got Locus Iste there, but maybe as Andrea's coming in, shall we see, is she going to appear? Let's just see if she's turning up. Hello.
Hello.
How about that? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, it's always lovely when you know I get a special guest on the in the workshop. I was going to say on the show, but I don't think we're really in a show, are we?
Well, it does feel like a show. It feels like one of those TV shows, you know, where somebody rings the doorbell and you get a mystery guest. You go and answer the door. You get
very exciting. Or the mystery guest through the keyhole, or whatever it used to be called, that show.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are things going with you?
Yeah, going well, thank you. I've been looking at some music this morning, ready for some rehearsals and recording bits and pieces that we've got coming up this week. So I've been brushing up on my Foray Requiem.
Yes, of course, for the big performance with the ECO, with Maestro Barnaby Smith. That's going to be an exciting experience for us all, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And have you been singing along quietly at home with this workshop so far, Andrea?
Absolutely. I was just getting, you know, we sing Drop, Drop, Slow Tears quite a lot as a group. It's one of our favorite sort of beginnings to a show sometimes, and so it's nice to actually revisit the score sometimes, because we do it from memory. It's actually really nice to go back and look at the score and sort of see how it makes you think about it a little bit differently sometimes, just going back to the basics. So yeah, very, very nice.
And I hope you've realised that you have been singing all the right notes in concerts.
I do hope so. Yeah.
I mean, on the top line, you don't have much you can get away with, do you?
No, there's nowhere to hide. No.
Well, look, we're about to look at Locus Iste. So do you want to stay around for a couple of minutes? And maybe we can have a little look through the opening section, and then we can hear some soprano tips, and I'll have a comment or two about the bass section, which I'm a big fan of. So let's dive back into the Academy, this time with two of our little heads up here. And here we are. Do you remember this score, Andrea? Do you remember how this one looks?
I do.
Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, it's very nice. So here we go. We've got the score here. I hope, guys and girls at home, that you would just turn the page in your booklet, in your Singing London booklet. As you can see, the Singing London scores here. So it might be slightly different, but if we dive into that here, let's have a look. Has Johnny been consistent? That's the big question for all of us. Oh, I think I'm in Liber. That's nice. What else? Oh, so much stuff. Lift Thine Eyes. You did that last week, I think, didn't you? Here we are. So we've got our score here for the beginning of Locus Iste. And if we just go a little bit further, why don't we hear VOCES8 singing the opening section? If you're at home, you know this piece like the back of your hand, then of course, I'd like you to be singing along as soon as possible. And Andrea, you please feel free to sing along too, but probably on mute if you don't want to get some time lag going on. Here we go. Let's see what happens if we can find this. Oh, the Academy does start quite promptly sometimes, doesn't it? Here we go. Let's cut the basses off in their prime. So that's our first little page we're just looking at there. Andrea, if you were going to sing this page, what for you would be some of the bits you enjoy most, but what also maybe one or two of the big challenges?
Well, I think one of my favorite things is obviously just that the sort of romantic nature of the music and how it goes in big waves through the phrases. That's really satisfying to sing. Challenges are sometimes making it sound like it's all big in one phrase. So actually really singing through all of the notes, and singing through the consonants as well is really important. So as well as sort of stretching out those notes when we think about legato singing, actually stretching the consonants in the words a little bit and making them a bit longer really helps to add to that feeling of sort of mellifluous, really nice and smooth singing in line.
That's very, very true. I wondered, as a soprano, how do you deal with the bar 7? I suspect you're okay because it's nice and rich, but then when you get this piano marking at bar 9, how do you, what does that do inside your head and body?
Well, for all of us, I'm sure it's a little bit, it seems a bit scary. I actually try to think of it very much attached to what's come just before it. So actually you've only got those two little crotchet rests, having sung that, actually trying to think, like sing and think through it is much more useful because you kind of stay in the same place. So when you've sung Ardeo Factus Est, don't let your voice then sort of reset or your larynx come back down. Try and stay in that kind of space and think of it as the same phrase, and keep it really nice and open.
To me, it almost feels like if you see it not as a dynamic marking, but as a concept of maybe like an echo or a gentle restatement. Sometimes the dynamic piano would make us seize up a bit when actually,
it often kind of gives us tension, even if just psychologically. So yeah, thinking about it as a color. We often try and talk about these things as colors in the group rather than necessarily as like dynamic shifts. So just thinking as you're saying, maybe as an echo or just being a bit softer.
Yeah, so think of that color shift and don't think of what tension it might bring. And the nice thing I have to say as a bass singing this is that it's really in a nice range to sing throughout at this moment, and we just get to rumble along. The trick for the basses is to make sure we're subtly managing the breaths as we go along, because obviously everyone else gets a nice break and we need to just manage those so that we are keeping a line continuous. And different conductors will do things in different ways, but if we can really feel like we're just keeping this bed of sound, I think that's going to be great. Why don't we try just to sing this same section that we've just done? So this time at home, join in. And if you have already done it and you're already feeling it was perfect, I can see a couple of people saying already that they're doing this with their choral society. So this is a great chance to practice. This time, as we're feeling it, really think about the lines as Andrew has just been talking about there. Let's not see our dynamics. Let's think about colors that we can find instead. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go from the beginning again. We'll just do up to that section. Great. Just before we get to our rumbling bass section, did you all notice that time we were talking about the bass parts? As we went through bars 2 and 3, they were really keeping that going basically in time. Then they were doing the same as they went from bar 6 into bar 7. But if you noticed, we really paid attention at the end of bar 8 to make sure all 4 parts are putting that st together. So we took a little bit of time so that the basses could make sure we closed it down with everyone else, and then created the sound world, that echo, that different color that Andrea's just been talking about with us as we headed towards the end of this section. And now we've just brought it right back down so that we can rumble through this next section. So let's just have a look at page 2 with that bass lead, Inestimables. Let's go from there. Andrea, I was glad to see you not only really singing, but actually having a sip of lemonade during that by the look of things.
Oh, I made myself a smoothie.
Oh,
yeah.
Lovely. A smoothie, even better.
Very legato smoothie.
Sounds perfect. Okay, everyone. So we're going to go from where we just stopped, which is the last bar of page 1. That's bar 12, Inestimar. Okay, here we go. Let's pick it up right on there. I think the basses are going to rumble in very quickly. And... Inestimar. now, that's a great moment, especially when you're singing that at the VOCES8 Centre in that acoustic, because the echo just goes and goes and goes. So when we get to just where we've got to in the performance, everyone who's singing along with us will need to be watching and paying attention very carefully there. We've just had great fun. Those glorious phrases are building and building and building. And just before then, we get to that middle section with the delicate tenor lead. Do people normally talk about delicate tenors? I'm not sure. But we can all try, can't we? Just before we get to that, then let's really be ready for that space of the acoustic just to be enjoyed to the max. Okay, so that's a little thing to think about. Let's just hear our second section now. And I'm just checking to see if we've got any questions. Is everyone happy? I think you all seem to be following along very well. I'm super impressed, everyone. So we're going to go straight from that soft, delicate tenor lead. You and Blake, I'm sure, are about to be as delicate as it comes. Here we go. So this is Irreprehensibilis Est. This is bar 21. And... Very nice. Andrew, that was actually surprisingly delicate from the tenors.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Well
it's
done,
such a lovely section of this piece.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. And the way it's back and forth between the upper voices and the tenor section, let's really try and capture that. But I think universally, whichever voice you're singing, if we can think again about the shape of the phrase as we're going through that, irreprehensibilis, there's just a little bit of a lean, isn't there, going into that and then coming away. And
yeah, you can hear how it does it with the how he leans into it with the harmony. It's always leaning towards that. It's really, really pretty, and it always we're in the upper voices always leaning towards it as the tenors get to the beginning of their phrase, which is obviously really important as well. So it kind of passes it back and forth, which is nice.
Yeah, and then alongside that, just a couple of, again, dynamic notes. You can feel in this section, it's so much gentler. The colour's really, really soft. So even at bar 25, where you see the idea crescendo, do note that we're only crescendoing to P. And then actually, then you see MF marked in the next bar. I wouldn't really take that as a kind of literal MF that we might have felt perhaps on the previous page. For example, I think in bar 5 we had one. I mean, Andrew, you might disagree, but for me this is a really gentle section. I'd be inclined to see that as the softest MF you've ever sung, probably.
Yeah, I would also I just take all, especially in this style of music, really taking those dynamics with a pinch of salt, and actually more just riding the wave of using your ears and your feeling about the music, rather than trying to sort of think, oh, am I singing my MF right now or my piano, and actually thinking much more about how you feel the harmony is unraveling, and kind of think about it that way instead of thinking about dynamic markings maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice idea. And the nice thing now, guys, is that once we get through that section, we're now heading back to our A section again. So it's going to be very, very similar. The only difference really is that we're sticking a coda on the end. So let's just move this piece now from where we've got to towards the end and just be thinking about all the things we've talked about. As you're singing, really try and find a good support, lots of nice line, and just look for the moments of gap and be ready, I suspect, again for this piece, rather like the Gibbons that we've worked on earlier with Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. We're just going to really draw it to a gentle close at the end. And so we'll be taking our time over that as well. The indulgence of recording these pieces in the VOCES8 Centre means we find some very relaxed tempos for only 8 singers, which is
absolutely, yeah, it's a real treat. But also, again, this style of music, you don't have to be too strict about the timings and all that kind of thing. Again, use your instincts and feelings instead.
And these little babies. I can see that Blake is also not only luckily singing delicately, he's also on the chat right now, and a few people...
another pixie.
Yes, and pixies everywhere. And he's been talking about the things that we use, the tech that we use for our scores. So if all of you are interested, FOR Score, Score is the app that we use. And with that app, what we've given you, the Live from London program, if you download that as a PDF, then you'll just be able to put that straight into Score, and you'll be able to treat it like a normal real paper copy that you can scribble over and do all sorts of fun things with. So that's our top tip, Score. Really great app. It saved us many piles of music in bags.
Yeah, a lot of baggage allowance, weight restriction. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're just going to revisit now our A section to conclude this piece. And then I think actually we might dip out and go and finish with a bit of a pop song. So here we go, from where we've got to the end, and just everyone really singing and finding the shapes and the colors and the romanticism of this writing. Okay, here we go. So just to be clear, we are going from which bar? It is bar 30. Here we go. Well done, everyone. Good job. I hope you were singing along very nicely. A couple of quick things you may have noticed there. Bar 44, we sang Adeo, and then there's a little break there. I think if we weren't singing that in a way that we had to sing to create these tracks, we may have taken just a touch more time there. So I suspect when we do that live, be ready for that. And then, as we said, we're just going to wind it to a soft conclusion. I hope.
One of the things in this last bit, we starts to get slightly more challenging in terms of the length of the phrase. And if you need to sneak a breath, because obviously, you know, we all end up singing phrases where we have to, you know, we call it staggering. If you're sharing a part with somebody else, you can sneak a breath when the person next to you isn't doing one. So actually thinking a little bit about that, even though you're singing virtually, to kind of like maintain that idea, actually thinking about where would be the most strategic point for you to take that breath. Maybe pop it in your score. I always think you have to be a little bit careful about where you have to place your consonants if you're doing that. So maybe it's worth leaving a few consonants out if you're going to do a breath, instead of trying to get them in, because you might not get them in at the same time as everybody else. So just have a little sort of think about what might be best for you at that point.
I think that's a really good tip, Andrea. Knowing when not to put the consonants so you can get away with stuff is an absolute art form. It's one of the dark arts of course. Don't get caught doing something naughty by putting your consonants in the wrong place, everyone. Just know
that's the only thing that's going to give you away.
Otherwise, you get away with absolutely anything, really, if you're cunning about it. That's a very good tip. I saw a comment there just talking about bar 40 in the bass section being a bit challenging, but also a joy to sing. The now I have to say I love that, and I love this piece because actually the basses have a real job to do. We're kind of leading the way at times, and it's a great piece. I'm so glad to see so many of you commenting positively and that you've all been singing along as well. So this is great. I can see John Westby has just found Fourscore on online, and he says it's cost £19.99. Andrew, do you remember when Fourscore used to cost? I think we got it for like
£2.99.
Yeah, it's become very popular. You see, we were early adopters.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it for a very long time. If that's true, then they must be raking it in.
Yeah, well done, Fourscore, on being so successful. Guys, I'm sorry it's 20 quid now, but I promise you it'll be a really good 20 quid that you've spent on that if you do decide you want it.
There was somebody asking about whether our whether we get scared of our iPads sort of failing on stage. Yeah, I mean, yes, of course. But it's, I mean, touch wood, that nothing totally disastrous has ever happened to us in regards to that. Plus, I mean, we do rehearse a lot, and even if we use scores for some pieces, we tend to know the music really well enough that if the page doesn't turn at the right time, or it takes a little while to, you know, catch up with itself, we probably have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and at least have somebody, you know, fairly close by who we might be able to peer over the shoulder of at some point. So so far
you're putting a massive curse.
It's a curse every time anybody asks the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the trick is the fact that we know the music almost off copy usually, if not being copy. So.
I do have a story from Barney, who I believe was conducting, and you guys were down in France doing a gig down there. He was conducting an orchestra, and I think this was maybe a year or two ago, and I was not with you. I was back in the UK, and I did not know that Barney was on stage. So I phoned Barney, and it was at bar one of the concert. I seem to remember. And his iPad somehow picked up his phone signal, even though he'd left his phone off stage, and started ringing. So he was reading the Fourscore, and it just suddenly had my picture, my face popped up. That's a real unfortunate moment, isn't it? So make sure
you have to turn off, you know, airplane mode.
Yeah,
absolutely everything.
Mode. Right, so we've had a look today through VOCES8 just there, and I'm so glad to see all of you loving it as much as Andrea and I suspect all of VOCES8 do when we sing that piece. We've also had a visit of the rather simple and beautiful Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. There's another piece or two that are in the programme, particularly things like Stamford, which we won't have looked at today, but I'm sure will be coming up in the other sessions. So do go and get practicing with those. In terms of choral classics, the Beati is right up there as well. It's an absolutely awesome piece to be able to sing in. So enjoy that. As we mentioned as well, you can do all of this stuff by taking out your members of VOCES8, so you can sing without them and make sure you're note perfect with all of the other parts. And now, I think just for a few minutes, Andrea, you were working on Mine with the group last week, and any of you guys who were here at the warm-up may have spotted that I was trying to do some things which did in fact link. I'm sure Andrea spotted it straight away, trying to link to some of the kind of rhythms that she was getting us into last week. Particularly, we were thinking about, Andrea, I did a bit of searching because I thought it was really good that you put up the lyrics last week. So I also went and found some lyrics. I don't know if I got them from the same place.
Are they the right ones? Because the ones that I found are pretty much wrong on every website on the internet.
Let's see. So I looked at some and they didn't look right, and then I looked at this one which I thought looked pretty close. So Andrea, you can be our melody checker. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can screen share this. So this is Mine by Phoebe Ryan that we looked at last week, and so we have When I Went Down, it was so hard to breathe, I gave up everything in a slow fall down to the floor. How does that look so far, Andrea? Is it feeling pretty good?
That's good so far.
Yeah, excellent. Top tip. So if you were here last week, and I'm sure you were with Andrea, you should remember how that bit went. We'll just revisit that again. And so the way I was just keeping the beats, Andrea was doing the 2 and the 4 last week, which I think is a really nice thing to do. If you want to subdivide further, you can. I quite like changing. Just it's a good little practice to know when the 1 and the 2 is, and the 3 and the 4. So we can play with that if you like. This comes in after 3, so it goes 1, 2. When I went down, it was so hard to breathe, I gave up everything in a slow fall down to the floor. And the great thing there, I think, is the way it goes, floor, at the end.
Yeah.
Is that how you do it as well, Andrea?
Absolutely, bang on.
Yeah, so we're singing and then just let it go, let it drop, floor.
Yeah, you just kind of like fall over it a little bit. Down to the floor.
Yeah. So can we try that all together? After 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3. When I went down, it was so hard to breathe. I gave up everything in a slow fall down to the floor. There we go. Very nice. Andrea, you were trying really hard not to sing along there. Do you want to sing the next line? We can alternate lines as you're here.
Oh.
If you've got it in front of you. I don't want to put you under any immediate pressure, but you seem to
I've got the words.
Oh, you do.
um,
So second line's basically the same as the first line, isn't it, with that kind of rhythm?
yeah, so the two halves are the same. So love was escaping me. I couldn't find myself till it was all lost, not anymore.
Very nice. Should we try that, everyone?
Ooh.
And I'll do the visualization of the note falling at the end and just clap other than that.
It helps to think about it it's in two halves, but actually the half comes in the middle of that middle line. So actually when we get that first slow fall down to the floor is the equivalent, the down to the floor is the equivalent of us going back to the beginning. So if you think about sort of resetting your melody at that point.
That's a very nice way of thinking about it. Should we just try that second line? Life was escaping me.
Sure. 1, 2, 3. Life was escaping me. I couldn't find myself till it was all lost, not anymore.
Now, very good, Andrea. That was great. Guys, I'm sure you were fantastic at that at home. And now, if you think back to the rhythm games that we were doing, we had the da 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 da, that kind of offbeat vibe. We also had the da 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 triplet feel that we were going with, and it's the triplet bit that we need next, isn't it? I'm holding on to all the pieces of my heart's debris. Should we just try that? I'm holding on to all the pieces of my heart's debris. So that's coming in with me. 1. I'm holding on to all the pieces of my heart's debris till it's time. Oh. And Andrea did some great work with you on that, because we have that first "all" happens, and then there's a break after it. And then afterwards, it's Andrea's going to carry on. And Andrea, how does it go?
It goes the same.
It's a great game, this, isn't it?
And a 1, 2. I'll pull it together and fix myself eventually, and know it's mine.
Very nice, Andrea. Round of applause from me for you. That was brilliant. So should we try both of those things together? And let's see what even happens if we swap. So I'll do the first one and then you take over. In the gap, it might end up being more than a beat as our latency issues kick in, but that'll be half the fun. Top tip.
Make sure you give it some good attitude on that "all," Paul.
Okay. What kind of attitude do you fancy on it, Andrea?
Just I like a little bit of good glottal on the front of it. Oh, yeah.
And a head twist. Oh.
A little bit on the side, yeah.
Okay. As we're doing this, top tip for everyone in any a cappella ensemble ever, even if there is latency, all you're going to be waiting for when Andrea starts is to hear and feel her breath. It doesn't matter if it delays a bit. When you hear her breathe, that's when you start. Simples, really. Okay, so we're going to go from I'm holding on to, and I'm going to sing that bit. Here we go. Keep your beat going if you can as well. 1. I'm holding on to all the pieces of my heart's debris till it's mine. I'll
put it together and fix myself eventually, and know it's mine.
Very nice. And the smart amongst you would have noticed I sang a wrong word, didn't I? Andrea probably noticed it. I sang mine instead of time. Small.
Yeah. Well, it is the title of the song. You were just desperate.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, I'll guess a word, say the title. Very good. So that was good, guys. I'm sure you were amazing at home. We've only got like a minute left, really, before we're supposed to stop. So let's just quickly go to the next bit, which is the fun bit, which is I found gold in the wreckage, put it on a necklace, keeping it because I know that it's mine. Should we try that all together? So that's I found gold in the wreckage. You should have the score just in front of you. I found gold. 1, 2. Oh, it's after 2, isn't it? 1. I found gold in the wreckage, put it on a necklace, keeping it because I I know that it's mine. And what happens after that, Andrea?
The same thing.
Yeah. Good.
One. I wear it like a message so I don't forget it. Keeping it because I know that it's mine.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, I hope that you are absolutely right on that. Don't forget, if you need more time practicing these, you can come back to this workshop, or in fact, there is also a version on YouTube that you can dig out and find and sing along as well. And then the last little bit we got to is that the funky rhythm, the syncopated bit that we were talking about. Andrea, you've been copying me for a while now. Do you want to go first with this bit?
Sure. So this is kind of like the post-chorus. We have a pre-chorus, a chorus, and a post-chorus.
It's just great, isn't it? What
Yeah.
an amazing collection of things.
Yeah, so this one is mostly one note, which is great. And then we just doing this, if you remember from last week, it's just the syncopation. So you're going to sing between all of the beats until the very last line. Okay, so it sounds like this. Let's get a note. I know that it's mine no matter what I do. I know that it's mine whether I win or lose. And then pulls it second two.
That was so good. You were doing like the clicks. I like that. That was really good. And then after that it goes, and even though my heart needs to take its time, I know that it's mine. Oh, I was trying to read the words and not my music. I know that it's mine. I know that it's mine.
Yay.
Yay. I shouldn't have given you the first half. I was much more confident with that. But it's an absolutely great tune. And just to give you all a heads up, if you want to go and find it, let's just do a quick screen share of this. And in fact, if we dip in somewhere, we can probably find just here. Let's see what happens if we do the beginning of the song. So everyone have a go at singing along now, see if you can remember the bits. And Andrea and I will just do some head bobs, because if we sing, stuff's not going to work well. Here we go. I'm cutting it there. Brilliant. Well done. Did anyone notice maybe that we're not in quite the same key, but never mind.
All the same words, because we had a few different discussions about what we thought the words should be. So I'll tell you what, I will put together a lyric sheet of the definitive
one and only.
Yeah, we'll make it available somewhere.
I believe already, in fact, that Blake, whose hair has grown, it would seem, significantly since that video went up almost a year ago. It was the beginning of lockdown 1, I think, when just before that happened, we managed to get into the studio and record a few things. And yeah, Blake's hair, his beard has grown longer. And we have, I think, you'll be able to see him with full current beard, because I think he just made a little video for all of us who are doing this project, and it's going to be going up on the Digital Academy as well. So everyone should be able to find that and be able to practice and groove along. And a few people, Andrea, are already very grateful to you for your offer of a lyric sheet. And so I think you've just landed yourself an excellent job there.
Well, it's just as well I've already made it, isn't it?
Woohoo! we have run over my allotted time and I'm late for a very boring meeting, but it's much more fun being in workshops like this. So just remains for me to thank all of you guys for being here today. A big thanks also to Andrea for being amazing. And I think the next session is on Friday at the same time, and it's going to be the lower voices. So that will be exciting. I'm sure we'll have a lovely time. Don't forget, though, you're always welcome to any of these sessions, high, middle, or low voice. Whether you read music, whether you don't read music, the whole point of Singing for London is it's for everybody. And so we want you to come, take part, get involved. And if you're not watching this session live, don't worry, because as you've realized, you're not watching it live. So you can just have fun at any point between now and the 21st of March. If you want any more information, don't forget you can go to the website www.VOCES8 Foundation, and in the events you'll be able to find the 21st of March event, which has all of the stuff, including the workshops that we're doing, goes onto that page as well, and it's got a link to the Digital Academy there, so you should be able to find everything you need. If you've got any questions, then just get in touch. I'm Paul at VOCES8 Foundation, and Andrea, what's your address these days?
Andrea at VOCES8.com.
Oh, there we go. So feel free to drop us a message if you have any questions. And other than that, my most exciting thing of the day is trying to work out how to finish one of these live events. I just crashed everything earlier when I was practicing, didn't I, Andrea? So I think I can. Oh, I've worked it out. I think I've worked it out. I think I'm there. We'll see what happens. So Andrea, thanks again for joining us. Everybody, see you very soon, and have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.